Hey, this is Chris Jericho, and you're listening to the Shout It Out Loudcast. They're going to give you a reason to live, make you feel like you're the king of the mountain, and when it's all said and done, they're going to dance all over your face. Oh, yeah! We got some good-looking girls! Oh, yeah!
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Shout It Out Loudcast. Don't turn your radio dial. You're in the right place because the album review crew is back with episode number 43. We're calling this one, Just Leave Me Alone, Master, or I'll be back at the front of the line at the local Sanitarium. Tommy Zeus, how are you? How are you?
I'm great because this is just another Patreon pick that's just doing my work for me. I mean, I'm loving these Patreon picks. I love it.
Fucking bullshit.
Zeus is pissed.
That's like 3 in a row for you.
It is 3 in a row. The only dud was Cinderella.
Fucking bullshit. Regardless, this is the Patreon pick. It came down to Master Puppets and a couple other ones, and Master Puppets got a little bit of a challenge there for a little bit, and then they just ran away with it.
Yeah, we say this all the time. I mean, obviously the Patreon people only get to see the ones that make the poll, but we got a ton of great picks. Obviously, we got a ton of picks that were like, "What are you guys doing?" But we got a ton of great ones. A couple multiple bands, different albums from the same band. But once Master of Puppets became a submission, we're like, oh, we got to throw this in the poll. So,
yeah. Yep. Well, here we are. But before we go forward, we go backwards. Last time was my pick. I had taken Purple from Stone Temple Pilots. Tom, I know we did a poll. What was that result?
Yeah, we did. So always the 4 songs that we choose to make the poll. We had Vaseline, Big Empty, Interstate Love Song, and Unglued. Interstate Love Song runs away with it at 49%. Vaseline at 31%. Big Empty only getting 12%. Ooh, I was surprised by that. Unglued comes in at 8%. But again, I think it just shows you how good this album is that a song like Big Empty gets 12% of the vote. You know what I mean? I mean, any other album would have been a killer. Everybody writing some comments about how much they really enjoy Interstate Love Song.
Tom, also, before you move on, we have a new number 1 song on ARC.
Oh, please announce that.
You said it. Interstate Love Song.
That's right.
So between the 3 of us, that's it. It's because there's always one of us that fucks up a song. We rarely will have it as a top 20 for each of us. And I think this is one of the few exceptions.
Yeah, no, it's true. Couple comments from Twitter besides the poll. Our buddy Tony, who does the intro for ARC.
Oh, yeah.
Who cares?
He says, wow, Zeus finally picked a good record. And Zeus responded with, please don't ruin Stone Temple Pilots by liking them. Our buddy Wally Vidal, currently listening now. Great pick. One of my favorite bands. This album ranks number 3 in their discography. He has Core at number 1 and then their 4th album at number 2. That's not a good album, Wally, but that's okay. Yeah, Sonny Pooney for the Doors love. We all love the Doors. Yep. So stay tuned. That might end up making this the ARC. That'd be a fun one. David Holmes, many reasons I love ARC. Was never a huge fan of Stone Temple Pilots. I went and gave this album a listen and have changed my tune. Awesome pick. And then these are my favorite comments. Marvin Carter, it sucks. All of it. And on that bright spot, that's it for Twitter.
All right.
Marvin must be a Lizzie Borden fan.
Oh, God.
Our buddy Jeff Don't Call Me Ronnie James Dio Kinsley. Great choice, Zeus. Top effort by STP. I'm glad I got to see them live.
Yeah, me too.
Jason Warden, great episode, but a great album. I'm with Tom. I do like Core better, but both are spectacular. I never got the Pearl Jam comparison, but did with Nirvana. With STP, I had finally accepted hair bands were done, but y'all nailed it with them having the Kiss elements, which made their transition easier. I believe that was Sonny that said that. Mm-hmm. It's funny how much snobs like Rolling Stones always hated Kiss, but the influence on bands like STP and their peers was truly undeniable.
Yep.
Oh, no. Kevon Japson. Giggity, 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 giggity.
Oh, boy.
Lots of nostalgia with this one. It's a decent record, half excellent, half okay. Unglued is by far my favorite STP song ever, a banger. I also love Pre-Penny, super cool song. Vaseline is awesome, and Interstate Love Song is good, but I'm fatigued by it. So overplayed, but for a reason, I guess. Our buddy John Whiteman, Interstate Love Song is fact perfect. When it came out, the way he whistles the S on seams bugged the shit out of me, but now it's the essential part of the character of the song for me. Sort of like the bass drum pedal squeaking on Since I've Been Loving You. Great album, great episode.
Great reference there with the squeaking drum pedal. It's awesome.
That's a Zeppelin Chronicle listener.
That's right.
Over on our Loudcasters page, John Clifford says, yes! And my band does a great cover of Still Remains.
Ooh, all right. That's right. John Clifford, he posts pictures all the time of his gear. He's got quite a little gear room, pedals and bass and everything. I like it.
Yeah, the mistakes are stuff left in albums. If you remember Live Plus One for Fraley's Comet,
yep.
Ace is doing the Rip It Out solo and he hits that one bad note right in the beginning of the solo. And I can't listen to Rip It Out the normal way without hearing that like bad note.
You don't have to worry about it because he can't hit any notes right now.
He can't hit any note now. But that's beside the point.
Now you look for the one note he got right.
Exactly. He's doing everything you love now, Sonny. Every note's out of whack.
Fucking wow. It's been bad. All right. On Instagram. Violently Lopez. I love Core, but STP took it to another level with this album and silenced a lot of the critics in the process. My best pick for the album is Still Remains, which I feel is one of the most overlooked songs of the 90s. Here's a shout out for Sonny, Radio Chaos. Foo is poo. Couldn't agree more. STP are on another level. Well done, mates.
Oh, enough with the foo-poo stuff. F you, foo-poo.
And over on our YouTube page, Cody Brunette 3547. This is the first ARC episode that took me a few days to get through. I can listen to AIC, Nirvana, Foo Fighters, and a little bit of REM. STP is one of the few bands where if the song isn't on the greatest hits album, I can't listen to it.
Wow. Okay.
That's rough.
That's
all
interesting.
Right,
yeah.
Over to you guys.
Sonny, you got an email to read?
Yeah, so the email I got is, from Penelope Red, depending on who you believe who that is. So it says, what a nail biter, often talked about, now finally reviewed, except it didn't quite go like I would have guessed. As this episode was going, listening to how their musical chemistry was being discussed, I was almost shocked how much, Pooney seemed to, to have liked it, which is why I'm just as much of a fan of their side projects, Talk Show and Army of Anyone. Are those STP side projects?
Yes, yeah. Army of Anyone. They got a great song called Goodbye. A couple of I think the DeLeo brothers might be in that one.
I thought Sonny might even be the hero of this particular review. Then came the album rankings. Very disappointed. This is clearly the best album you've given a review, but Sonny had to be Sonny. I will tell you there's more on the email, but let me answer that part first.
Okay.
We've reviewed some albums that I've lived with my whole life and listened to probably hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. That ain't one of them, right? Mm-hmm. So although it may be my favorite Stone Temple Pilots album in whole, that doesn't mean it's going to end up ranking in my top 10. It's just that I'm not a huge fan to where I'm an uber fan. That's why it ends up where it does.
Yeah.
Luckily, Zeus came in and played the savior. Even though it was his pick, I wasn't expecting a number one ranking, which was definitely earned. It is better than Core, which I also love, but No Memory is basically an intro, and Wet My Bed is a throwaway track. The worst mistake made is that Still Remains as a top 3 track. You guys fucked that one up. Maybe after a few more years, you'll hone in your ability to rank albums without needing a mulligan episode. Bye for now.
The love for Still Remains.
Where did that come from?
It's a good song, but wow, a lot of comments about that. Mm-hmm. All right, and we'll finish up a nice long email. Funny story here from our buddy Scott Greer. What a great episode. I've always loved their material, and there are subtle things in some songs that set them apart from other acts of the era. I have a funny story. I was a police officer for 20 years, and I worked at an STP concert. I was fired up because I had never seen them, and I was assigned backstage. Before they were to go on, someone from their staff came up to me and said, "Hey, can you move away from here? The band is about to come on." There was more than 30 feet from where I was to the closest wall, so I moved towards the front of the stage. A few minutes later, another guy comes up to me and asks if I could move as the band was about to come out. I look behind him and I see Dean, Rob, and Eric standing there, but no Scott. I told the guy that I am not in anyone's way and there is plenty of room to hit the stage. He doesn't say anything, but he's looking back towards the dressing room. I asked him if there's a problem. He says, "Scott saw you out here and he doesn't want to come out." At that point, I laughed and I told him, "I don't care if he's holding anything. I don't care if he comes out and shoots up in front of me. I'm as big of a fan as he is, and I'm going to see tonight. So tell your paranoid lead singer to get out here and let's get this show on the road." He walks back to the dressing room. A couple minutes later, here comes Dean and Eric. Rob walks by and winks at me and laughs. Scott follows about a minute behind and never made eye contact with me, eyes straight down, and he's led by a handler. It was a great show, though I was ticked that they didn't play anything from the Shangri-La-Dee-Da album, which is severely underrated. I like Purple more than I like Core and thought they progressed as they went along. Damn shame drugs got in the way, but that's been said about countless bands. Scott. That's a great story, Scott. Thank you. Excellent, excellent. And that's feedback for Purple.
Well, we move from what's considered grunge to now thrash. I almost want to say, Tom, tell us about your pick, because it's basically your pick, but this is a Patreon pick. And since let's go in order as we usually go, why don't we go with Sonny, Master of Puppets? Want to tell us how you got introduced to this?
Yeah, so as people know, I grew up in the Bay Area, went to high school in the Bay Area, lived in the Bay Area most of my life. Overall, I'm a Metallica fan, because you had to be if you lived in the Bay Area. I was in high school between 83 and 86. So, you know, I'm seeing Metal Your Ass Up Your Ass shirts. I'm seeing the Ride the Lightning shirts. They're starting to show up kind of everywhere. And then every day you would see like more and more Metallica shirts. It was kind of weird. And then, you know, how you have cliques in a high school. If I was hanging out with the Stoners, they're listening to Metallica. If I'm walking by the quad, the hacky sack guys are listening to Metallica. If I'm over by the bike racks and the Vietnamese guys are playing volleyball, they're listening to Metallica. And I'm like, okay, normally when you walk by this, you don't hear the same music. And they were like almost connecting with everybody. So a friend of mine gives me Ride the Lightning, Kill 'Em All. I didn't like it. Initially, I just didn't like it. It was probably at the maybe end of 85-ish. And I was listening to Rat and Whitesnake and Kiss, and this stuff was like, I can't listen to that. I don't understand. All the shirts are cool, but whatever. Then I got a shot to see them live on the Master of Puppets tour, June 86. Mm-hmm. So they're opening for Ozzy. Cliff is still in the band, right? And Hetfield has not broken his wrist yet, because I think it's about a month later, he breaks his wrist, right?
Skateboarding.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I immediately understood the love. Dude, the energy in that room and hearing some of the Master of Puppets songs in that room, whether the songs were connecting to me or not, the energy was, right? And Metallica blew Ozzy off the stage. Like this is the Phil, Suzanne, Jake, Randy Castillo Ozzy, and it's not a bad Ozzy, but they're doing Ultimate Sin, and Ozzy's Ozzy, so it doesn't really matter. But so after I got done seeing the show, my first Metallica purchase was Master of Puppets. I wore the hell out of that album. That album is, I don't even know where it is. It might be in pieces. So I had to get the CD when the CD came out, and I still got my original CD.
Nice. Yeah. So for me, I mentioned this many, many times on ARC. I have a sister who's 4 years older than me and introduced me to all kinds of music, from Prince to Whitesnake to Journey to all these things. And Master of Puppets. I remember she had the cassette, and I remember being drawn into, first of all, the name of the band. Second of all, the name of the album. I mean, what a name for an album. And then, of course, the cover. Now, at the time, I was listening to a little bit of Ozzy, a little bit of Judas Priest, but it was mostly Def Leppard, Motley Crue, that kind of stuff, some MTV, the hair metal stuff. I was not into anything. Probably the heaviest stuff I was listening to was like Ozzy, Diary of a Madman type stuff. I had no idea. I knew about Metallica, but I had never heard anything from them. So I put the cassette in, and I hear Battery, and I'm like, what? Like, I had never heard anything that fast. I didn't know what I was listening to. And I was just like, this is a thing? Like, this kind of music is a thing? And I kept listening, and then the title track comes on. And then each song sounds a little different, but the energy, the power, the volume was like, I'd never heard anything else like it in my life. And Master of Puppets hooked me. And then, like Sonny, in high school, I was in grade school when Puppets came out. I was in high school when Justice came out. Justice hooked me in even harder with One, and just the sound and the anger and the vitriol and Hetfield's voice on that album. And you started to see, I went to a school where you had to wear like a shirt and tie. So there were occasional days where you could wear T-shirts, and there were some metalheads. And I remember some kid did come to school with a metal up your ass shirt, and he was sent home or told to wear it inside out because it was a Catholic school. So people started talking about that more. And then Justice has the video for One, and it was like, okay, Metallica. And then, of course, the rest is history. I mean, I've seen them a bunch of times. I got tickets for the 72 Seasons tour, and, they're right there with Kiss for my favorite band. But Master of Puppets, I think, is I think it's probably one of the albums that a lot of Metallica fans maybe at a young age got into.
All right. First time I listened to this whole album was when I first got the CD a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
I've said it many times. I didn't like Metallica. I didn't like thrash. I just didn't like the music.
Yep.
Metallica grew on me when I listened to One. I liked that song. Over time, I would hear a couple tracks from Master of Puppets, but I never got into it. I didn't get into Anthrax. I didn't get into Megadeth. None of those bands really appealed to me. I liked the melodic stuff. And so when Metallica was starting their rise, I ended up buying the Black Album because it's just undeniable. You can't, for me, because they came, I feel, towards me, not I went to them.
Yep.
If they kept on that trajectory of like what they were doing, Master of Puppets, probably never would have jumped on them. And then I got into Load through you, and I like that album. So now I've got two albums that I'm like, okay, I like. I've had Injustice for All for a while, and I liked One, but I never really dissected that album. So Metallica has always been like, okay, respect, but I never got into them. And it's a matter of just not just them. It's just thrash. I never got into thrash. And so this is kind of like the first time I've listened to it. And yeah, these songs are all foreign to me, with the exception of Master of Puppets, Battery, and Sanitarium. I never heard any of these. So this is all new. And it's interesting to see the Metallica I know versus the real Metallica that everybody else knows. And I'm like, it's the old Kiss in the elevator. Where are you coming on? There are people like Sonny that came in the 80s in the non-makeup. So they kind of gravitate to that. And like, why the fuck? Like, this is the era that it's the best. I'm kind of feeling the same way. I like Load in Black. Like, what's wrong with that? And so it's interesting, but this album certainly got played a lot in the last couple of weeks. So I'm interested in seeing what we all think about this.
Yeah, well, I mean, I picked Load early on in ARC, and I did that for a reason, because I'm a diehard Metallica fan. I love everything about them. And that's an album that I wave the flag for Load and Reload. I don't care. And I know a lot of people hate it. And I know it's a controversial album. And I thought it would be an interesting discussion. And I thought it was. I thought it was an interesting discussion because there's some killer songs on there, and there's some songs that kind of suck. And I figured, let's do something kind of off the beaten path, for that. But now we're back to the basics here. And so by the time you guys hear this episode, you will have heard the Zeppelin Chronicles episode on Zeppelin 4. Now, for me, I'm not speaking for everybody out there. This is for me. For me, this is what Zeppelin 4 is to classic rock. This to Master of Puppets is to thrash and metal. It's an undeniable cornerstone foundational album that you can't like metal and you can't like thrash without liking Master of Puppets. I think it's where all other bands come from. And talking about this album for me is kind of like talking about Zeppelin 4. 8 songs, all obviously different, but I just thought that parallel was different because we just did Zeppelin 4. Again, by the time you hear this, it will have already released. But for me personally, doing these album reviews kind of back to back was really interesting to me. I mean, you're talking about 2 legends. So yeah, I think there's a lot to get into. I have Mick Wall's book called Enter Night, a biography of Metallica. Mick Wall guest on our show here, which was amazing. And I bought the 30th anniversary coffee table book called Back to the Front, a fully authorized visual history of the Master of Puppets album and tour. It's essential if you're a Puppets fan, if you're a Metallica fan. So there's a boatload of information here, but like we do with ARC, we try to give an overview and then talk about the music. So, but we will get into the background as we always do.
All right, let's talk about the cover. Sonny?
I like the color scheme, right? Because it's kind of like a red, orange, brown kind of thing. Dude, the hands with the strings onto the crosses and then the weeds coming up to make you feel like they've been there a while. It's effective. It's somewhat simple. Like they were trying to kind of go with that whole Holy Diver type of thing, but it's not as complicated as Holy Diver. And the logo looks great. I think the album absolutely fits what you're about to hear. The album cover.
Yeah, the cover is just bonkers. I mean, first of all, the Metallica logo in marble, like it's carved out of marble if you look at it closely.
Yeah.
The dog tag hanging off the center cross, the army helmet hanging off the cross to the left. Sonny, great observation with the overgrown weeds. Nobody's tending to this. The clouds in the background almost look like a nuclear bomb type thing. The hands with the strings, it's incredibly eye-catching and incredibly powerful, especially when you look at the album cover after you've listened to the album. And we can get into some details of the album cover, after, Zeus will give us his thoughts, and then we can kind of get into the artist and the inspiration and whatever.
Yeah, I think the cover is awesome. I love it. I think it doesn't give too much, but then if you look closely, you do pick up on a few smaller things. But the way the logo is set, the red, and just the imagery of all those crosses, and you just think of all those deaths. And then there's strings. And then before anybody really said anything, I read about this and realized there are hands up there, aren't they?
Yep.
Like that. It's just an incredible image. I think it's one of the best covers you'll probably ever see.
Yeah, it's also interesting. So imagine if those weeds are not coming into the white. So try to look at the cover without the weeds coming into the white. You could mistake those for people.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Right. So I wonder if he's drawing it or whatever. And it's like, okay, you don't want to mistake it for anything except for what it is. Let me get this thing going up a little.
Yeah. Good point.
So like the hands and smashes, thrashes, and hits.
That's right.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
With the 15 fingers.
God.
How to destroy a great album cover in one easy step. Smashes, thrashes, and hits.
So the artist was Don Brodegam. And if you look closely, buried in the corner in the grass, you can see the tiny initials DB that he painted in there. He's an incredible artist. He did covers for Stephen King books, Dean Koontz books, H.G. Wells. He did the album covers. He did Dr. Feelgood, The Razor's Edge, Anthrax, Persistence of Time. He did the album cover for The Payback by James Brown. The original idea came to him from Metallica themselves, and then he kind of took it over. I have the Master of Puppets box set, and inside is some like sketches and artwork. The original hands almost had like women's fingers with like fingernails. This looks a little bit more creepy, and they comment on the fact that there's no fingernails, and they try to say, well, that's because this person's supposed to be wearing gloves, like a
I assumed it was gloves,
like a puppeteer. Yeah, like a puppeteer. The original sold at auction for $35,000. It's legendary. It's iconic. Metallica is one of those bands that never disappointed with an album cover, whether it's the Electric Chair and Lightning or the Lady Justice with Injustice for All. Later on, when they get into Blood and Semen and all that shit, they kind of screwed up. But early on, they had some killer album covers. I do want to flip over, or at least for the vinyl flip over for the CD open up. One of the things I remember about this, again with the cassette, is looking at the band and being like, fuck, I don't listen to any bands that look like this. Like every band that I listen to right now looks semi-pretty. These guys all look like just like, I don't know.
Bums?
Yeah. I mean, they just like, I couldn't. And then that picture of Lars playing, the fisheye playing at the stadium, I was like, fuck, I don't listen to any bands like this. So I just remember seeing that and being like, holy shit. And then you put it on and it's like, okay, now you know why these guys look the way they look.
Yeah, I remember when I first got the album and the CD. So in the CD at Disposable Heroes, that picture of Hetfield right there.
Yeah,
it looks a little hair metal. It's a little teased up right there.
Fair. Yeah,
right. But by the time you get to the back, it's not as teased up.
Yeah.
All right, let's get some facts. Metallica Master of Puppets came out March 3rd, 1986. It was produced by someone named Flemming Rasmussen and Metallica.
Who was it almost produced by?
Paul Stanley of Kiss.
Geddy Lee of Rush.
Ooh.
Oh, worlds collide.
Dude, that would be the ugliest group photo, I think, of all time. Oh, man.
Oh. Anyways,
right.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So this is unfortunately the last album with Cliff Burton. It became the first metal recording to be selected by Library of Congress for preservation in the National Recording Registry. And that came out right before, I think, Bang Tango's third album, I believe.
Dancing on Coals, yeah.
Ah, you know the name.
He knows the album title.
I think that got inducted right after Master of Puppets.
Okay.
It went to number 29 on U.S. Billboard. It went 6 times platinum. Rolling Stone has his 167 greatest album of all time. And then they moved up to 97 or 197. I can't read that, my writing, in 2020. And number 2 for Rolling Stone's greatest metal album of all time. Martin Popoff, fellow Pantheon member, says it's the best metal album of all time. And Guitar World has it's the 4th greatest guitar album of all time. It's just some of the many, many accolades of this album.
Yeah.
And it's quite funny that in the last couple of weeks, we did basically the trifecta of what's considered the greatest 3 albums probably of all time. Metallica's Master of Puppets, Led Zeppelin 4, Peter Criss Out of Control.
Peter's the best album out of those 3.
Oh. There's nothing better than puppets.
when you think of Black Dog opening Zeppelin 4, Battery opening Master of Puppets, and then the producer, whoever the fucking genius is, goes, Peter, I got something better than those opening up by myself. You open with that, you're gonna blow people's minds.
So Sonny hinted at this, and we can't talk about Master of Puppets without talking about Cliff Burton. I love Metallica. They're I mean, Kiss is part of my DNA since almost birth. But Metallica is a band that I consistently listen to all the time. According to my Spotify statistics, they're the number one band that I listen to all the time. Cliff Burton, to me, is my all-time favorite bass player for them. His influence is undeniable on Lightning and Puppets. And it's crazy because Burton was so interesting because he loved Lynyrd Skynyrd, but he was into classical music. He loved Johann Sebastian Bach, the real Sebastian Bach. He would wear like bell-bottom jeans, smoking butts all the time. He was a metalhead through and through, but his influence, and he was regarded as like the most quote unquote mature of the band. And you can really feel that on this album, like lyrically, compositionally, the way a lot of these songs are structured with their solos and their breakdowns. And his death, the fact that they survived it, not only survived, but came back bigger than ever. They were in Sweden. The bus rolled off the road. Burton was thrown through a window and killed instantly. And the story goes that before they took their bunks, him and Kirk Hammett kind of drew cards to see who was going to take the bunk. And it's just a chilling story that, you know, because of the card that Burton drew, he got the bunk. Stories say that the driver reported that he slipped on ice. Some people think he fell asleep or he may have been drinking because when they looked at the accident scene, they couldn't really find ice that would have been responsible for it. But Burton's legacy, you know, lives on with this album and, you know, those first three albums, especially, you know, Lightning and Puppets. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I just think Burton he's just fucking untouchable. I love Jason Newsted, and Robert Trujillo is incredible too, but I think something about Burton and what he brought to the band.
Let me mention something that you never hear anybody talk about. Okay. So he dies on the bus, black ice, gets thrown out. Nobody thinks it's weird that they were opening for Ozzy and that's how Randy died on a bus. Nobody thinks that's weird.
I do.
I would never be around Ozzy the rest of my life if that was the case.
I thought Randy died in a plane crash.
No.
Yeah, but it was on a bus. They flew into
a bus.
And the airplane clipped the bus and fucking then went into the barn.
And it was in Europe.
I totally forgot about that detail.
Wait, it wasn't in Europe. It was in the States, right? Yeah, I think it was in the States. But either way.
And rumors were whoever was driving the plane and the bus were on drugs or something.
Yeah. Well, they were doing coke with Ozzy all day that day.
Yeah, the fucking plane guy was all coked up the whole day.
I just thought that was odd.
No,
Nobody ever says anything about it.
It's kind of a creepy connection. You're right.
Yeah.
And you brought it up, Sonny. Before we get to the tracks, I just want to talk about the tour briefly. You saw the tour. I mean, we talk about Kiss in their stage setup. Metallica had this album cover on stage.
Yep.
They had the crosses. It's fucking insane when you look at it.
Yeah, and the weird part about it is, like, I went to, I don't know if I ever told you guys this. Tony and I saw Stryper, and then like a week later we saw Dio. And it was Murray comes out and felt all satanic, and we bolted because we got a little scared, right? But with Metallica, even with the crosses and all that, it didn't feel like demonic. It didn't feel like you were praising Satan. That wasn't really it.
Right, because the purpose of the crosses was not. It wasn't supposed to be about. It wasn't supposed to be like Jesus on a cross, like a church thing. It was used to memorialize like fallen soldiers based on the cover. So you're right; it had a different appeal. It wasn't like, oh, Satan exorcism cross. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that whole thing. Who started it? Was it fucking Mustaine or Metallica? Because there was that all. I mean, remember, I didn't listen to Thrash or get into them, but they all use that imagery of dead soldiers in war and
Slayer did. Slayer was real heavy with the death and the war and the violence. Yeah.
Because the thrash is supposed to be against the band. It's supposed to be the angst and what's wrong in government and, all that kind of shit.
Megadeth got super political, and they got even more political as their albums continued. Metallica, even if you listen to Ride the Lightning, it talks about the destruction of Earth and the death penalty and religious wars. And then you look at, we'll get into the top.
Warren was doing the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course they were.
Yeah. We'll get into the subject matter of this. I think that's another thing you segue into this is the intellect of this album. They weren't talking about Dungeons and Dragons and spitting blood and demons and stuff. They were talking about the name of the album, Master of Puppets, manipulated by
bear in your hand and toes in the sand.
Yeah, it wasn't that either. Exactly, it's right, and it wasn't phony, like shout at the devil, like Motley Crue. Ooh, shout at the devil. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but
that Vince
yeah, we haven't heard from him on Twitter in a while.
No, come back.
Maybe we need him to come back.
Pat Vince is out of breath.
I'm telling you right now, I shouldn't say this out. I shouldn't say this out loud, but I have to because I love our listeners, and I know this is a horrible thing to say. And if I say it, it's probably going to happen. But I'm really surprised that until now somebody has not created a Cliff Burton's Ghost Twitter page yet.
Jesus Christ! Yeah, just people will be upset. It's not like he was a unlikable guy. He was
he's beloved to this day still.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've got 8 tracks to get to, and let's start with the opening track. Here it is.
Battery. All right. So obviously it's acoustic to Onslaught. You just heard that. The intro to me kind of feels a little bit Spanish guitar. Like the first time, if you don't know anything about Metallica, you put this song in, dude, about 38 seconds in, you probably get startled a little bit because it kicks in. And then at 107, you probably drop dead because it goes to breakneck speed. So it felt like this. You're going to get this orchestral symphonic band to garage rock. It's a little weird. I remember when I first heard this, Lars drumming felt off to me. Like when they go fast, I'm not a drummer. I don't know if the drums are too loud. I don't know if it can't be wrong. He's a drummer and they put it on tape. So there's something about the offbeat or the time that is messing with me when it's fast. When it's slowed down a little bit in these songs, it sounds great. So that's just got to be my ear. I told you guys saw this live, dude. The energy in the room when Battery was going, shit. I mean, if Hetfield would have said "kill Zeus," there'd have been 2,000 people on Zeus. It would have been bad. James sounds great. The musical interludes. This is why, for those folks that know me, I absolutely hate thrash. I cannot stand thrash, and these guys are right at the edge for me because those musical interludes. There'll be a earworm every once in a while. It's not always just thrash. That completely uncontrolled, unhinged guitar solo. Kirk Hammett should be given Vinnie Vincent lessons. You can sound great and Bumblebee and crazy at the same time, and it can fit the song. It's just the band's still fresh, they're raw, they're hungry. I don't understand the lyrics, never have. Battery is a street in San Francisco. I figured it was about the street. I don't know. Right? But awesome opener. Awesome opener.
Yeah, as I said earlier, this is the very first song I ever heard from them, and I was like, Jesus Christ. I mean, first thing, going back and listening, I know there's a lot of people, including our buddy Righty from Part of the Hell, who waves the flag for Ride the Lightning, which is a fucking incredible album. But the big thing that separates Lightning from Puppets, A, the production on Puppets, specifically the drum sound, and B, Hetfield's vocals. Hetfield is very squealy and shrieky on the Lightning album. I think his vocals are way more controlled, a little bit of a lower register, more of an angry growl. There's still some of that some of that shrieking, but I think he's more, I think this is, you're starting to hear the real Hetfield on Puppets for me. talking about Lars's drumming, I don't think there's a problem with his drumming. I think the problem is, for me, I don't think our ears naturally enjoy the sound of that thrash drum. It just doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound right. It sounds rushed. And I think the thing too is, just when your brain and your ears are catching up to the beat of Battery, he does a drum fill and then it kind of starts all over again, or he does like a little interview, or he hits the floor tom, or he does something. Your mind is, you're listening to the guitars, the lyrics, and your mind is, at least, because for me at least, the drums kind of bring you through the song. That aside, you talking about Kirk Hammett, fucking an absolute clinic on this album, an absolute monstrous clinic on this album. If there is such a thing as being controlled and chaotic at the same time, that's what Kirk Hammett is on this. And right there, an absolutely blistering, legendary album opener right here.
All right. Battery, written by James Hetfield and Lars Ulrich. Supposedly, in what I understood was, he was defending his family, his thrash metal family, and getting protective versus the glam metal family.
Yep.
And that's what the meaning is, supposedly. I don't know. I didn't catch that, but Rolling Stone says this is number 9 in the top 10 Metallica songs, best songs. Kerrang puts this number 5, Revolver number 4, Loudwire 7, Billboard number 4. This is fast and loud, but it actually has got a melody. And the thing that I started realizing is, as the albums grew with Metallica, I liked Hetfield's voice better. He got a more of a bass in it, like you were saying, Tom. So I enjoy this. I think what separates Metallica, I think, from the other thrash bands, at least from what I've seen and the thrash songs that I've listened to, they can do it, but they can have some melody in it, and they can have, like, the song is still good. They could make all these songs acoustic and they'd still be great songs because they know how to do it. Versus everybody, versus just banana. So I'm not a thrash guy, Sonny. I've never been. I'm like you. I have to overcome not liking thrash to listen to this, because the first thing I did after I listened to this a couple times, I called Tom and I know this is cheating, but I can't deal with this drumming. And just like you said, it's the dan, 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 dan. It feels like somebody's like, hey, asshole, I'm trying to listen to the song and you're fucking hammering in the background. Cut that shit out. Because when it gets into like the chorus stuff, it's fine. But it sounds literally like it's too loud. It's like, dun, 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 dun. What the fuck is that banging? It's not pleasant. So I don't know how hard that is. I assume his fucking arms might fall off if he's still doing that shit these days. But that's not very pleasant. Now, the other thing, music, the music on all this stuff. And there's different segments, almost like prog. All of a sudden, this is like an acoustic. All of a sudden, it picks up. Now it's fucking thrash. And then all of a sudden, they'll go off on a different tangent. Now, this happens throughout this album. I've seen it with earlier Metallica stuff, but not so much as they got better, as their songs got shorter. Thank fucking God. I don't understand why bands do that. They'll come off in the middle, like the middle will be a completely different song. And I'm always like, okay, that's a nice little melody groove. Why don't you just make another song out of that? Why do you throw 3 different good little guitar things into one song? Stick with the one fucking song and finish it out. But there's a lot of that stuff, and it's distracting for me because I can't remember which interlude that belongs to. Is that on Sanitarium in that middle part? No, that's Battery's middle part. Oh, is that like, there's just a lot of moving things. And I think I'm not trained well enough to understand thrash or Metallica. And this is the first really thrash Metallica album, right? Because I wouldn't call Black and Listening to Load as anything I need to train to. So this is just a little different. I will say I like the song a lot. It's heavy. It's hard. I'm not too big a fan of him going battery.
Battery.
Yeah, the pronouncing, but it's a good song. And how many of those other thrash bands can do this? I don't think many. And there's a reason why they are really the kings. And I don't care how much the other three bands, like, oh yeah, the big four, nobody's even close to them. Nobody's close to Metallica.
Well, you hit the nail on the head, and I was going to talk about that eventually. The thing that separates Metallica, even a song like Battery, there's melody. There's a melody. The song is 1,000 miles an hour, and there's melody. There's a chorus. And we'll continue through the track listing here. The melodies become even more pronounced. And thankfully, I love Battery. And there's another song that's similar to Battery. I'm glad the album is not 8 batteries. I don't want that, and thankfully it's not. And it's the exact opposite. It's 8 completely different songs, with the exception of one that's very similar to Battery, which we'll eventually get to.
When they get into like the building of the chorus on this,
yep,
that's the music and the vocals is just different. It's melody. You get into that. You like that part where it changes up. It isn't just throughout, right?
Yep.
So, all right. There's a title track coming up that I think we all know.
Master of Puppets, Chop Your Breakfast on a Mirror drug addiction song. The only single, I would say that if you know a metal fan or a prog rock fan and they've never heard Metallica, this is probably the song I start with, because you get ballad, you get heavy, you get thrash, you get classical piece. It's all kind of mixed into one. The starts and stops on this song are incredible. It's got a great hooky chorus. James sounds angry, which just really fits this song. Now, for all the things I said about Lars in the first song, when he slows down a bit, which this is slowed down just a little bit, then it sounds fine. And during the verses, where the guitar melody's playing off those 2 snare hits he's doing, dude, like I'm air drumming snare hits as I'm driving. Like that's so in that pocket, there's got to be like a beats per minute that it's like, Lars, draw the line like right here and don't do like over that, that kind of thing. Breakdown at 3:34, and then that master going from ear to ear. That's what I'm talking about with the earworms. You didn't get that in Anthrax songs. And I get it. We got friends in Anthrax. I get all that. But you just didn't get all that. That first solo is done by James. It's okay. Dude, the solo at 5:50 is off the chain. Kirk is in a new place. I think when you hear that people don't like Kirk Hammett's playing, I think what it is they don't like it fast, because it's not neoclassical. So it can't be fast because, it's just thrash fast. That's like it being punk fast. Dude, I don't know anybody in punk that can play like that, right? And then the laughing at the end, just perfect topping on the cake, pie, whatever you want to call it. One of my favorite 8+ minute songs ever. Like this, Maiden and Metallica, they get a break from me on the long songs because it's not monotonous. And I absolutely love this song. I loved it from the first day I heard it.
You perfectly said that. That's the gift of Metallica. They can take an 8.5 minute song and they take you through. You go through like a journey. It's not boring. It's reminiscent of 2 of my other all-time favorite bands, stuff that Zeppelin does, stuff that Rush does. But the way the song opens, that first dun 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 dun, to me, once the song gets going, it is fucking untouchable. The riff, this tickles me when it comes to it's the perfect tempo. It's the perfect riff. It's got a bridge into one of the most incredible choruses you've ever heard in your life. I mean, Master of Puppets, I'm pulling the it's just, and then the breakdown, and then it comes right back. And I'm sorry, any solo where the lead singer introduces it, when Hetfield screams, "Fix me," and then Kirk Hammett just takes over and just becomes possessed. We could do an episode on this song if I wanted to. It's just that friggin' magical and perfect.
Master of Puppets written by all four members are credited on this. So Hetfield, Ulrich, Burton, and Hammett. Somehow, I think it's because of the whole Stranger Things Eddie Munson scene.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It made it back up the charts to number 35 on Billboard charts.
Yeah.
Which you never expect.
Yep.
The song's about somebody controlling you, drugs, and all this other. I never heard of Metallica being drug addicts. I always thought of them as being drunks. But
like you mean Alcoholica?
Yeah,
that was the nickname during this album.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I didn't know this was about drugs. I just thought it was about the military industrial complex and all that other shit. That's what I thought Master of Puppets was. VH1 had it's the third greatest heavy metal song. Martin Popoff has his number 2 is just 500 metal songs of all time. It's song number 256 in Rolling Stones. Top 500 songs, number 2 in 100 greatest metal songs by Rolling Stone. And it's in Old School. I forgot that part. Do you remember that?
Yeah. When
in the van.
When he kidnapped when Will Ferrell kidnaps the guy in the van. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. The changes in it makes this tolerable versus a lot of these other songs, but they're all still like fucking 8-minute songs. I'm not to the point where I'm like, oh yeah, no problem. I don't know. I can respect Kirk Hammett's guitar playing. It doesn't do anything for me. I've listened to Avenged Sevenfold and I listened to that guitarist go nuts. I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And that's my ear. Like I hear fast guitar playing. I love it when it's nice and clean. I love it where all of a sudden in the middle, he'll break into this like little like ditty classical stuff or the stuff that he does on One and things like that. I love the slower stuff, but the speed stuff doesn't do it for me because I see a lot of these thrash guys do speed and all sorts of different moves. It's not Vinnie Vincent. It's not all over the fucking map. This is much better. I'm just saying, to me, the fast doesn't impress me when he slows it down and still plays those beautiful notes because he has a wonderful tone. I fucking love it. That was what I like a little bit better. All right. Now, let's get to song number 3.
The Thing That Should Not Be. So after you get your head beat in on the first 2 songs, then you start to realize on this third song, like the overall production is better than the first 2 albums, but they still don't have the big Bob Rock punch yet, right? That the production is not exactly perfect because at times it even gets tinny, and even on the remastered one, it's still a little tinny at times. Song is heavy as fuck. It's got that cool chugging riff. They were trying to get their Black Sabbath out here, the slow and creepy. Song's probably a little more metal than it is thrash, especially when you compare it to Battery, whatever. The bass was loud in places, which was kind of cool because it was a little bit different. Guitar solo is amazing. Here's my problem with this song. It got boring because now this one didn't have all the dynamics of the first 2 songs. So I renamed the song The Thing That Is Not As Good As the Last 2 Songs.
Yeah, this has always been the song that, obviously we'll eventually get to rankings. It's on Puppets. It's Metallica. I love it. It sounds great, but they threw it in here in the track listing because it is a massive change of pace. It's heavy. It's sludgy. It's Sabbathy. Lyrically, it's based on the Chulu, however you pronounce it, the mythos, the stories by H.P. Lovecraft about a scary monster, which is the thing that should not be in this. Metallica references this too on the Call of Cthulhu from Lightning, on Ride the Lightning. The one thing that I think is kind of creative for this, because the song is based on like a monster story, I like Kirk's solo because the solo is kind of like, it's like if you're listening to the type of the song and the lyrics and what he's singing about, the solo is kind of like scary and like odd and I think it fits the vibe of what they're trying to portray in the song. So I think that's kind of cool, but it's just a heavy plotting Metallica song. It's on Puppet, so I love it, but yeah, it's not Battery. It's not Puppets.
The Thing That Should Not Be by Hetfield, Ulrich, and Hammett. This is what Tom would call a plotting song.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this? A fucking sea wolf? A fucking monster? A kraken? What is this? Like, I have no idea what this is about. And I'm like, oh, are we into Dungeons and Dragons? I didn't think Metallica was Dungeons and Dragons and sorcery and underground creatures and fucking.
Kirk Hammett's the monster guy. He actually has like a gallery and he has monster themed guitars and he has like classic
movie posters,
classic horror posters and stuff. So this is him.
The song is just, it's a tough listen. Shadows is rising, immortal. Like, what the fuck? Like, the riff itself is fine. I think there's a part in the side, and I'm like, dude, is he saying Aunt Beru?
I'm pretty sure he's not, but
it's out.
Uncle Owen, Aunt Beru.
Yeah. It's out for ruins. Yeah. That's the lyrics, and I'm like, I kept hearing. I'm always thinking, like, oh, where's the Aunt Beru song part coming up? What is the thing that should not be? And I'm just like, fucking Ace singing this song. What else is the thing that should not be? Because you can think of a million things what it should be and what it can't be. But I don't know. It's not bad, but it's certainly a letdown from what we were just listening to.
Yep.
And again, 6 minutes and 36 seconds to tell us what's going on in the song. I feel like I'm becoming Sonny, this grouchy old man that bitches about song length.
You weren't a grouchy old man before. You were a grouchy old man way before me.
I like how he says I'm becoming. I'm becoming a grouchy old man.
If you notice that way, that wasn't me.
If you notice my notes, I started writing the fucking length of every fucking song on the side. Like,
why? It's on Wikipedia.
Like, yeah, but I'm not looking at Wikipedia while I'm discussing this with you guys. That's the point.
Oh, I do.
I'm saying that I like, it was getting tedious to me. Like, how fucking long is this song? Good Lord. And all right, some of them you can get away with, but there's some, unfortunately, you notice. This one you noticed a little bit. So let's go to track number 4.
Welcome Home, Sanitarium. All right, so you get the Metallica ballad. Great riff. I like the guitar melody at the beginning. With James' vocal tone on this song. So in the beginning, he almost feels less angry and that he feels bad for the person that's in the situation they're in. And then it gets angrier as the song moves on, which is cool. You get a little vocal harmonizing in the verses. Finally, thank you, Metallica. The chugging, that's at like 3:47. I forgot that when I was listening to this album the other day, I realized I kind of heard Iron Maiden after I heard Metallica. So when I was listening to Iron Maiden afterwards, Metallica kind of got me into the whole, that chugging, the fast riffing, the dual guitars, 2 guitars playing, they're playing fast. That's kind of what got me into Iron Maiden to begin with, that whole gallop and all that. Dude, they're earworms. Just Leave Me Alone. After the first verse, then you get that beautiful metal, like metal music melody. Then the second time on the second chorus, when he says, just leave me alone, you get into a super chug, right? Into that great bridge. This is like I label it a dark classical music. That's basically what Metallica ballads are. Dark classical music to me.
And this is exactly where you get the Cliff Burton inspiration here. This song is I'm already getting angry at the ranking process later on here. I love this song, and it's an incredible story that he's telling, whether it's a first person story, and the way it starts off, it's so dark and so depressing and so sad as the person is singing about what life is like inside this sanitarium. And then when it flips and you got the best right-hand rhythm guitarist in metal with fucking James Hetfield and the king of the chugging riff. And when that second half takes off, again, Kirk Hammett into another planet with the solo. But I feel like the beginning of the song is the guy in the sanitarium talking about how horrible it is to be in there. And then I feel like when the song flips and goes into the fast, I feel like that's them trying to either escape or cause a riot or some kind of uprising in the sanitarium. And the song was kind of inspired by One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which is obviously about what kind of happens inside that sanitarium there. But I think this is just one of the great Metallica songs. And I love that it's a two-parter. It starts off very, very classical, like Sonny said, very melodic, very peaceful, very ballad-like, and then it just blows your head off in the second half. It's just a really, really excellent song from them.
Welcome Home Sanitarium, written by Hetfield, Ulrich, and Hammett. This song is a song that I probably knew from this album before I bought this album. I've always liked it. It's a beautiful song, and this is the type of music and stuff and type of song structure that I don't mind when Metallica does it. It's awesome. This is what I think Megadeth can never pull off, or Anthrax, or Slayer. This is a beautiful song, and it works. I love the guitar. I love the vocals on it. The story, the bridge when he starts going to Fear of Living On.
Oh yeah,
that shit is just, again, it musically they're just a step way above any other thrash band to be able to do this.
Natives getting restless,
yeah,
mutinies in the air. Oh.
Yeah, it's just it shows why, even if you don't like the band or like thrash, you're like, I like that song, I like them, and you can appreciate and respect it because the song is just really, really fucking good. So yeah, that's Welcome Home. Let's go to the next one.
Disposable Heroes. So probably the fastest song, I would think, on this album. Not sure, but it's one of the faster ones for sure. You still got a little bit of a hook, though. You go metal to like thrash in 35 seconds, then to lightning speed at 120, then to a different pace at 130. So the dynamics are definitely there. I like the verses. I do like that whole back to the front, and the entire chorus is great. That whole like Soldier Boy thing in the middle, not too keen on that. There's something funky about that middle part. I'll just label it as the pre-chorus. Great guitar solo, although it's a little more controlled, and then you got kind of the live type ending at the end. So, for a workout playlist, a great song. For a sexy time playlist, you may injure your partner. Like this, but maybe not good.
I don't know if Metallica is in the bang zone. Disposable Heroes, honestly, if it wasn't for Master of Puppets or some other songs in the Metallica catalog, this song is top 5 Metallica right here for me. It's relentless, it's crushing. It's the thing I love about this song, Sonny said it, before you get into the main tempo, the song doesn't know what it wants to do. And again, I'm going to use the term controlled chaos. It starts off brutal thrash, like Battery. And then when it gets into the tempo, that chugging is, I don't know how James does it, but a couple things I love about this. After each line in the verse, Lars does a little mini drum fill. It's not just dun, 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 dun. It's just James will sing a song. It'll be, and every little drum fill is completely different than the previous one. I find that so interesting. You got that awesome bridge. Sonny doesn't like it. The Soldier Boy is so whatever, but the chorus, when it starts, you will do what I say, back to the front. And then that part where the music kind of quiets down and James just screams, I was born for dying. And the ending, the way the ending, you think the song is over. And they're like, no, we're going to bring back that drum, that military march, that Metallica, like thrash military style march. And they're like, and then when it finally ends, you're just exhausted. It's a fucking brilliant, brilliant Metallica song.
Disposable Heroes, Hetfield, Ulrich, and Hammett. All first thing that comes to mind is Back to the Front.
Exactly. You will do what I say.
Is that from Animal House? God damn it. Tuck in those pajamas.
Back to the front.
But I like the song. Again, it's a little too long for me, but it's fun. It's interesting. And this whole, like, I never ever can imagine us talking about something like this in any other album review crew. Beats per minute. The only time that'll probably ever get caught and talked about on this show is because of Metallica. Beats per minute. It is just fucking and it sometimes it's a little distracted, but I get what they're saying, like fucking speed and the fastness, like it just reminds you, like, well, we put this one up to 11. Then, well, why don't you just make them go to 10? I mean, to 15, to 20, to 30, right? Who's going to keep going faster and faster and faster? Doesn't mean it's better. But when you add the speed that they're doing and what they're singing about and add in like earworms of him screaming at people back to the front, the title's called Disposable Heroes, about like just fucking all these good young people just being led to their death. And they're heroes, but they're disposable. Fuck them. Send them in the front. Send them in the front, you know? And unfortunately, this is throughout history. This is what happens. But you add the lyrics. They've got something to say. The music is there. I just wish it was a little shorter, but it's a good song. All right. Anybody up for some Leprosy?
Leper Messiah. Heaven forbid we have a mid-'80s album that doesn't talk about fucking TV evangelists. Like every goddamn album. I think even Bango Tango had it. At least the lyrics I understood, because some of these lyrics I don't always understand. These were a little more straightforward. Hetfield's obviously singing angry, which is great. This song's a little more metal than it is thrash, so that's kind of cool. And it's like an anthem to like get people super riled up. Where I got the problem is you got this good song, got this great album at times. Yeah, it's a little too long in the tooth. Somebody's got to tell them either cut the songs down, but don't do stupid shit like end the song, wait a second and a half, 2 seconds, and then do 2 more notes. Like, what are you doing? Right? But then I realized Hetfield and Lars are 22. Hammett's 23. Cliff is 24. They should be fucking producing an album anyway. Right? Somebody should be stepping in and go, dude, don't do stupid shit. You got serious stuff. Right? Don't do stupid shit. So the ending was a little weird for me. This song's okay to me. I'm over the TV evangelist songs. Every fucking time we got a CD coming out in the mid-'80s.
You don't like wait, you don't like Miracle Man from Ozzy?
It's a great song, but I'm over it. You know what I mean?
I don't care about the lyrics. I mean, it is what it is. I just think the song fucking rips. Again, a different pace. It's not Battery. It's not Puppets. It's not Heroes. It's a little bit slower, but not as plotting as the thing that should not be. I think the lyrics are kind of funny. Send me money and you'll get a better seat. Like, I think it's funny. And I think it's kind of weird too, that this was inspired by David Bowie lyrics from Ziggy Stardust. That's where we get the term Leper Messiah from. First of all, can we talk about the titles of these songs? I mean, whether or not you like these songs, listen, Master of Puppets, Disposable Heroes, Leper Messiah. I mean, come on. Fucking, you gotta love it. It's Metallica.
Leper Messiah, written by Hetfield and Ulrich. Yeah, Tom mentioned the whole David Bowie thing. I guess a couple of them were real big Bowie fans. I like the song. I think it's funny. I like the way they say Leper Messiah. It works. And maybe it's because you're right, Sonny, it's more metal than thrash.
Yeah.
And so it's more accessible for someone like me. And plus, it's only 5 minutes and 39 seconds only. I think it's a good song.
So you guys are going to love the next one.
All right. The bane of Sonny Pooney's existence. An 8-minute instrumental is next. Here it is.
Orion. Okay, I got it. I got some stuff to say about this. Some of it may surprise you. So, yes, the composition is beautiful at times. No one's happy that Cliff is dead. Nobody wanted him dead. And I get it that I am an asshole for saying this. But nobody needs this. Weird bass sounds. Another fucking instrumental. There's only 8 songs. The middle Pink Floyd shit. Fucking... Basically, in my mind, what you're hearing is 4 separate guitar riffs that were never full songs, to an unused guitar solo, then to 2 more unused guitar riffs, to another unused guitar solo, to a fucking bass solo for no goddamn reason, and then end it with another riff nobody's heard. So basically, we Frankenstein from the cutting floor of shit that they're using or finishing. Then at 4 minutes in, you get your hopes up that the song's about to end, but nope, we got to go for another fucking 4 minutes. So Anesthesia Pulling Teeth was a waste of fucking time. I'll kill it all. But thankfully, that only lasted 4 minutes. Then we had to sit through 8+ minutes of the Call of the Cockle-Doodle-Doo, or whatever the fuck it was, on Ride the Lightning. And now Orion, nobody needs this. The band owes me 22 minutes of my life for those 3 fucking instrumentals. And I'm talking 4 years on For Pain and Suffering. 4 years and 22 minutes. This band owes me. This fucking song sucks.
This is coming from the guy who picked Bullet Boys on ARC.
Anything Bullet Boys has ever done
and
is
sings the
100%.
praises of Shoot the Preacher Down.
Bango Tango is better than this.
All right. Well, this is why I love this show. Okay. We know.
Damn, it just upsets me.
We know that Sonny hates instrumentals because he's a simple-minded man who can't handle complex musical compositions. I love instrumentals. I love this instrumental. It's my favorite Metallica instrumental. They do a lot of them. I love them all. I like them. I like that this has the little menacing little fade in. This one here is when I really noticed the production of the drums, and they sound very 80s here. Probably because they're kind of there's really no guitars going on too much with them. They sound very 80s. That's not a bad thing. I kind of like when it slows down. You get the little whiny part with the bass solo, Cliff doing his thing. Well, I like instrumentals. I like they do them on pretty much every album. I don't know. I like it. What can I say?
Zeus was waiting for me to blow up. I know he's happy now.
I'm happy too. You didn't disappoint.
Orion, it's the instrumental. Burton is credited first with Hetfield and Ulrich. Like, oh, this is a pretty nice riff. But it leads me to another fucking thing that I noticed about Metallica that aggravates the fuck out of me. And I'm surprised Sonny didn't say anything yet. Is it me, or is it that fucking difficult to start singing within 10 seconds of the opening riff of a song? Why the fuck are all their songs like a minute into it, or at least a minute? The vocals don't come
Zeppelin
in.
does the same thing half the time.
Hey, Hey Mama, that's not the same thing. They don't usually
go listen to When the Levee Breaks. The song's on for like a half hour before you hear it.
all right.
God, that song is brutal. That song is brutal.
Oh, here we go. And Sonny goes, that song is brutal.
Oh my God. Hart's version was 10 times worse.
Hart covered that?
Oh my God. So bad.
Oh, yuck.
Why would anybody cover When the Levee Breaks? That's stupid. But regardless, it's just too long. Every song here. Can you tell me if there's a song here on this album that doesn't start with the vocals coming in at least a minute late?
Nope.
Is that what they do on their other albums as well?
No.
Like the previous two, not later on, because they started going into regular hard rock metal kind of songwriting where the songs are now under 5 minutes.
Then you probably won't like Injustice for All, because there's some songs where the song's like half over before the vocals start.
Yeah, you think this is prog like Injustice for All gets
oh God, yeah, you got some 9-minute songs on Injustice for All,
which is why I'm like halfway through this song, like when I'm first starting to listen to it, I'm like, which song is this? Because I couldn't tell it was the instrumental, because all their songs start for like a minute and a half without any vocals. I think it's a good riff. It's not bad listening to it, but Sonny's right. And I said it earlier. Okay, that's your riff. That's your guy. Put a little bridge and end it. Come back to it at the end. Why do you put in 15 different things? Keep it for other songs. Like, that's a good little riff. Okay, that makes sense. Use it for other shit.
They use their instrumentals as a garbage bin for unfinished riffs.
It's more like
Frankenstein crap.
Yeah, it's okay. Hey, how dare you?
Yeah, but some of them could develop into decent songs. It's a little bit of a prog rock annoyance that I have, that there's like 3 or 4 different parts to the song, and you're like, what the fuck?
Look, it's been proven in the past, Sonny hates dead rock stars. Okay, that's what it comes down to. He doesn't like
Prince.
Well, yeah, that's different.
Yeah, this song.
You don't like Cliff Burton. You don't like Eric Carr.
Eric Carr.
These are. God, here we go.
All I'm saying is, I agree with Sonny. This did not need to be 8 minutes. It just didn't.
I love this. Where do either one of you have to be that an 8-minute song is going to interfere with your life?
So, in other words, you two losers have nothing in your life.
No, I didn't. I don't.
You listen to my favorite Metallica instrumental, and you'll like it.
I didn't mean that, but it's like you like hurry up, get the song. What? So you can do what?
You got a point. I don't know.
I'm kidding.
All
Go
right.
ahead. Let's finish it up.
All right, let's go to the last track.
Damage Incorporated. All right. So after wasting 8 minutes and 27 seconds of my fucking life, you wasted another 79 seconds. Oh my God. And basically they were just volume swells. I don't even understand. And then you go to like breakneck speed. I was so pissed off from the prior song. I still haven't got over it. I think the whispering gives it a creepy feel. That's cool. It's a very thrash song. You know, you got the Metallica march happening in here because that's kind of their gallop, right? Just like kind of Iron Maiden has their gallop. The Metallica march is kind of their gallop. But dude, where this song is saved, one is the whisper. And when Hetfield says, go, and Hammett goes, it's like, oh, shit. That's fucking awesome. So I was calmed down by the time he said go, but that was 3 minutes and 50 seconds into the song. So it took me a while to calm down from Orion. Because I have told myself that if we do something on Album Review Crew, no matter how it is hard to listen to, I will listen to every second. So I was really fucking fired up after Orion was done.
Damage Inc. Sometimes you hear Metallica fans or Puppet fans talk about, or at least I have in the past, like comparing this to Battery because Battery opens up the album, Damage closes the album. I'm a Damage guy. I love Battery. I've always been a Damage Incorporated guy. I don't know if it's the chorus. I don't know if it's the intro. Sonny, you said it when Hetfield screams "Go." And then Hammett just takes off. Something about this song is just a little bit different and a little bit better for me than Battery. I just think that the tempo, the pace, the gallop, the chug, whatever. I love this one. I always have. I just think this is a standout, and I think on an album that is so beloved and so legendary, I think this is like a lost song on this album. Maybe because it's the last one, I don't know, but this one is a killer for me.
It's a shorter song. That's why you love it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah, because I got things to do. I got places to go. I can't waste my time listening to music.
All right. Damage Inc., Hetfield, Ulrich, Burton, and Hammett are credited as writing this song. The vocals start at 2 minutes and 6 seconds of a 5 minute and 31 second song.
There you
go. What the fuck? But my thinking is like this is like similar to Battery, but it doesn't have that movement when you get into the chorus part of Battery and the vocals start changing and the tone changes too. This is just pure aggression. Supposedly it's about ranting about senseless violence. Like this is going to cause some senseless violence. This is an aggressive fucking fast thrash song. I don't know. It's okay for me. Nothing special. It's Battery light, but it's Metallica. What can you say? So that's the 8 songs on Master of Puppets. Final thoughts, Sonny?
In the end, like I said, I like Metallica. Powerful album overall. This is my favorite Metallica album on the strength of the 4 songs that I really, really like. But Metallica's a lot like Scorpions or Ozzy or Iron Maiden for me. The discography is huge. It's hit and miss. There's stuff I love. There's stuff I don't love. There's stuff I listen to. There's stuff I don't listen to. And it partially has to do with they love Bowie. They love Motorhead. They love Diamond Head. They love Lynyrd Skynyrd. I don't like any of those bands.
Yeah.
Right? So these guys are like at the edge of everything that I don't like. It's right there. If I didn't grow up in San Francisco, I probably would have never got into Metallica at all. There, you're kind of force-fed into it, and there is some stuff to it. There's no doubt. And I probably wouldn't have got into Metallica until Black came out, right? Until the Black album came out. Oh, okay. Oh, wait a second. They're on par with some of these other guys. They're doing different stuff now. And maybe I just go, all right, I don't like the old Metallica. I only like the new. Overall, the big four. Dude, this fucking big four. Slayer, the vocal, yuck. I guess the music's okay. Everything about Megadeth is yuck. And everything about Anthrax is a yuck. So it's like the big one and three other guys. That's what it is to me. But that's my opinion. I think it's a great, powerful album. I understand why people love it. I love about half of it.
Yeah. So I'm a Metallica guy. I love this album. Again, thank you to Patreon, because I eventually probably would have gotten to it.
Bullshit.
I just think everything about this album, for me as a Metallica fan, it's funny because I go through phases, and I'm sure maybe Kiss fans or whatever Maiden fans go through. Depending on what I'm listening to, depending on my mood, I'm like, Puppets is the greatest. Nope, Justice is the greatest. Those are my two Metallica albums, depending on my mood. Usually, I always fall back onto Puppets, but I love that there's 8 songs. Look, I like long songs that do different things. I'm a Rush fan, Queensryche fan. I like that kind of different stuff. Not everything needs to be Enter Sandman or Sad But True, which are great songs. But this album, I think, production-wise, lyric-wise, tone-wise, I mean, it talks about drug addiction, mental health and insanity, religious, war, violence, monsters. It talks about everything. To me, it's just been a legendary album that I come back to time and time again. And it's Metallica, Master of Puppets.
I'm glad this was picked. It's one of those albums that I should have already had and should have already been familiar with. So I'm glad I got a chance to do that. And I'm also glad that I was kind of got to experience the other more accessible Metallica albums before I got to this. And it kind of helped me to digest this and get kind of used to the thrash sound, because I can tell you, like, my opinion on thrash probably hasn't changed. I still don't really like it. These guys are the exception to the rule. And there's so many songs that I can say, yeah, I like this one, but there's a lot that I've just, not that it's bad and not that I don't respect people that enjoy this stuff. It just doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't work. But anyways, it's a legendary album. I'm glad we got to it. And now we do what we always do, and that is we rank the songs. Number 8 for me is an over 8-minute instrumental. Orion.
Sonny?
Number 18 for me is Orion.
I'm going to fuck this up because I like Orion. Number 8 for me is The Thing That Should Not Be.
All right. Number 7 for me is exactly that. The Thing That Should Not Be.
Number 7 for me is The Thing Should Not Be.
Number 7 for me is Orion.
Oh, yeah, you really fucked that up.
Oh, I fucked it up badly, baby. Don't mess with me.
Number 6 for me is Damage Inc. Damage Inc.
Number 6 for me is Leper Messiah.
Number 6 for me, this is where the rankings just torture right now, because my number 6 could be my number whatever. Number 6 for me is Battery.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Number 5 for me is Disposable Heroes.
Oh, I mean, I love every song on this album, so yeah. I hate ranking this.
Number 5 for me is Damage Incorporated.
Number 5 for me is Leper Messiah.
Yeah, this is where it's starting to get really tough. What am I saying? Let's Leper Messiah.
That's your number 4?
That's number 4.
Okay.
4 is Disposable Heroes.
My number 4 is Welcome Home Sanitarium.
Oh,
I'm telling you, these songs here, it's brutal trying to rank them. It's just like, it's not fair. I switched my rankings, but every time I listen to this album, I'm like, nope, that's number 2. Nope, that's number 5. Nope.
3 for me is Battery.
3 for me is Battery.
Nice. 3 for me is Damage Incorporated.
Shit, that was sexy. What are you doing tonight?
Damage Incorporated.
Hey,
Hey, Sonny, do you want to see my thing that should not be?
Ew. All right, this is.
I'll bring the battery.
Yeah, nice.
Well, this is going to be a toss-up for a lot of us. And number 2, I'm going with Master of Puppets.
No, they're all going to laugh at you. No.
Number 2 for me is Sanitarium.
Number 2 for me is Back to the Front, bitches, Disposable Heroes.
Number 1 for me, Sanitarium. I told them to tell him you were in a sanitation. What'd you say? I said I was in a sanitarium. Remember that from Scarface on the bus?
Yes.
Or did I have that backwards? I may have that backwards.
Either way, yeah.
The only number 1 on this list is Master of Puppets.
Yes, correct. Puppets number 1. Yep.
Yeah, I ruined it for you guys.
Nice.
All
So what
right,
do we got? What do we got for the top 4?
Top 4. Batteries number 4 collectively. Disposable Heroes is number 3. Welcome Home Sanitarium is number 2. And Master of Puppets is number 1.
Okay. All right.
Wow. All right, let's go to album covers. Not my number 5 is Slide It In, 4 Peace of Mind, 3 Appetiti, 2 Blizzard of Oz, 1 Hotel California. This is fucking almost as good as it gets. I'm going just outside top 5. I'm putting this at number 6. Above Highway to Hell, underneath Slide It In.
Okay. Sonny?
All right, my top 5 right now are Moving Pictures. Rage Against the Machine is number 4. Come and Get It, 3. Slide It In, 2. Peace of Mind, 1. And mine's going to be right outside the top 5 at number 7. So below Apollonia, but above the hotel they're in California. Get that? See how it rhymed? You like?
Oh, yes, so good.
Yeah.
My top 5 is number 5, Highway to Hell. Number 4, Moving Pictures. Number 3, Rage Against the Machine. Number 2, Blizzard of Oz. Number 1, Purple Rain.
A man lit himself on fire. Do not put this in front of that.
Puppets is going number 1.
We have a new number 1.
Yeah.
A man lit himself on fire.
James Hetfield just gave the beep beep to Prince in his little purple motorcycle.
He just fucking kicked Prince down.
Cliff Burton just beat him with his bass.
Move over, bitch.
Beat it, midget.
I don't think you can talk to me like that.
Damage Incorporated, Prince. Prince is the thing that should not be. Beat it.
All right, now we get to the fun part. Album ranking. My top 5. Number 5, Pyromania. 4, Blizzard of Oz. 3, Hotel California. 2, Automatic for the People. 1 is Purple. Where am I putting Metallica? I'm going to put this. See, this is the fucking problem. Our rankings are all over the place.
Because we've done a ton of albums. It's so hard. It depends on what mood you're in.
I'll be honest with you. I don't like Load. I like Load better.
That's okay.
But I'm like, I think I like this better than Don't Say No because it's very top heavy. But I'm like, I can't put it above Load. So now I have to put it at number 28. Above the Bullet Boys, at least, Tom.
Thank God. Jesus Christ. I would have. This could have been the final episode of ARC if you had that fucking Bullet Boys album ranked higher than Master of Puppets. Sonny, go break my heart.
My top 5 right now, Appetite's 5, 4 Slide It In, 3 Hailstorm, 2 Purple Rain, 1 Black Tiger. As I said with Purple, just because it's my favorite album from the band, doesn't mean it's an album I go back to all the time. And really, I listen to 4 or 5 songs on the norm. There's 3 I never listen to. So this is actually going to end up number 31 for me. So
What?
It's 31. It's behind Singles and above Hotel California. And just to let you know, Bullet Boys is number 8 on my list. So
Master of Puppets is 31.
31.
I think I need to. You guys might need to find like a third guy for ARC. This is just fucking bonkers.
Hey, Sonny, you keep knocking down Hotel California. Are you going to catch them, the Eagles, when they do their final tour out in California?
Not interested.
No. What?
Not interested.
Steely Dan's opening for him.
That's why we're going.
Worse.
Hey,
That's worse. That don't make it better for me.
Yeah, I can't do this anymore.
Me, Tom, and Murph are going to go see them. And Tom jumped in when he heard Steely Dan was opening.
I can't do this anymore. All right, my 5 albums are number 5, 10. Number 4, Rage Against the Machine. 3, Shout at the Devil. 2, Purple Rain. 1, Moving Pictures.
Do we have a new number 1?
The only album out there that could knock off Moving Pictures is Master of Puppets.
Oh!
Master of Puppets is probably my all-time favorite non-Kiss album.
So bye-bye Moving Pictures?
Drop it at number 2. It's very, very difficult. It's very, very difficult, but it's Puppets. Puppets. Yep.
Dude, this is where I'm starting to get pissed off. So your top 10, Operation Mindcrime, Moving Pictures, and Master of Puppets, all picked by Patreon. What kind of bullshit is that? Fuck our Patreon, you fucking assholes.
You don't see, I'll let you in on a secret right now. I have a secret Patreon page.
Yeah.
Where I communicate with them individually. Hey, what can I say? You know what it is? I'm a man of the people. The Patreon, they know what they like. I'm a man of the people.
And of those albums, I think Sonny has them 36, 37, and where's Master of Puppets?
31.
31.
I'm keeping it real because
this is also the same.
Back.
This is also the same guy that has Bullet Boys at 8 and Bad English at 14.
That's right. So you guys do it by feel. I do it by my own science. So I actually rank the songs within all the other songs, do the math, and that's where the album.
We used to do that. Now we just have way too many.
I do it that way from
emotion.
Day one.
I'm not Sonny's AI. I'm not AI. I go by my. I have a pulse. I have a heart. I have a no.
I'm just saying, I just find that shit fucking interesting. I only like doing ARC just so we can get to the rankings and shit on each other.
Exactly.
That's my favorite part of it.
Yeah, but I also like shitting on myself when I see where I have some of these albums ranked after 3-4 years.
What I think we need to do is at some point we need to do like a live stream
and take
a separate episode. Yeah, so it won't be an episode, just a live cast where we just be like, all right, we each get like 10 picks.
Yep.
And we can each go down the list and move things, whether it be a song or an album or album cover.
I agree. I think that would be a blast.
What do you think?
I think it would be fun. Yeah, why not?
All right.
Yeah, so Sonny can drop Master of Puppets even lower.
Yep, it'll end up at 38.
Yeah, you don't like my album? Fuck you! I'm putting your album last.
But Tom, you're lucky because no matter what, it's never going to be worse than REM. So it does not matter.
Come on.
You know what's funny? Because like that album is probably more accessible REM type music than other ones I could have picked. So can I imagine where you would fucking pick those?
I know.
Right?
I know.
All right. So we do this next. All right. You make me rock hard. So my pick this ARC episode is a movie that made me rock hard. No, not a porn, but it's called Happily. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it.
No.
So it's a comedy, dark comedy with Joel McHale. You guys know him?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize he's supposed to be some stud and like throughout the movie, he's got his shirt off. He's all jacked and shit. I'm like, isn't he a comedian? This is Joe Piscopo Part 2.
Yeah, right.
He's all jacked. And it stars him and his wife in the movie. That's the actress Carrie Bechet. I don't know if you guys remember her. She was actually in... Narcos. You guys seen Narcos?
I haven't watched it yet.
Do you remember the wife of the banker, and that got set up with what's his name, with the mustache guy? What's his face there? Her, that hot blonde. Well, it's just a movie that sets place, I don't know, somewhere it looks like California or something. And they're a happily married couple. They've been together for like 14 years, and they still can't keep their hands off each other. They're all over each other. So it starts off the opening scene. They're at some friend's fancy LA house, and another party was trying to open up the bathroom, and they just went in there and hooked up, and they're fucking around. And the guy's like, yeah, some couples in there, fucking some newlyweds or something are in there fucking around. He's like, oh, no, that's our friends. Like, oh, they must be new or something. They're like, no, they've been married for like 14 years. They're like, that's a fucking act. No way are they acting like this. Well, throughout they're showing is that for some reason, they can never do no wrong. They just love each other. And it's like really lustful, and they're all over each other. And then just one day, the guy that's in a million movies and you always can play like weird characters, Stephen Root, shows up and tells them that they're part of an experiment, that they aren't normal, like their friends who are really at this point gotten to fucking hate them. Like, this isn't normal what you're on. I got to give you a shot so that, to bring you back to normal, because you guys shouldn't love each other like the way this is. And they're like, we don't believe you. And then something happens. And then somehow along the way, all the friends that like them but hate them because how annoying they are, they all end up in one like bed and breakfast they got for the weekend. And then that Stephen Root character is like this mysterious guy amongst this. And they think that their friends set them up to do this. Like that guy was hired by their friends. It's a fucked up premise. The woman is fucking smoking in this show. I love her. And I thought it was pretty funny. It was an interesting movie. I think I caught it on one of those like freebie things. It came out in 2021. It's called Happily.
Okay.
And it was just something different I found. And it actually made me chuckle and rock hard.
There you go. Nice.
All
Sonny.
right.
So for me, it's a movie also. Mine's a little more mainstream. Might have seen it. 2015 movie's called Focus.
Why do I know
Will Smith, Margot Robbie.
Oh, I think so.
You remember this?
Yeah.
So the movie is about Will Smith as a career con artist, got a gambling problem in the past. He latches on to Robbie, who's a newbie, and teaches her the art of the con. They do this one major payoff, and they're getting hot and heavy, and you think they're going to be together, and Will bounces. And then later on in the movie, their paths cross again. And then so there's, it kind of comes back full circle. I love the con artist movies. I always liked, It Takes a Thief. I always liked the con artist shows, the cat burglar show. For some reason, something about that is so clever. And it's kind of got me interested. So most of the actresses you won't know in this, but the three you'll know is Will Smith, Margot Robbie, and then Gerald McRaney. Remember Gerald McRaney? He plays the dad.
Yep.
It's a pretty good movie. It's a quick, probably hour 40, hour 45 watch. It's on all the major networks.
Oh, that
HBO.
sounds perfect.
Yeah, right.
What's it called again?
Focus.
Got it.
Yeah, 2015, fairly new. And it's fun. Like if you are a gambler,
which you are,
which I am, if you like that push and pull about two people that love each other but don't want to be around each other, but can't keep their hands off each other, but don't want to be around each other, like that, it's kind of happening that whole movie. And it's pretty cool.
Nice. All right, I'm going with a newer TV show on Hulu or FX called The Bear. Premiered in first season came out in 22. The second season just came out in June. It hits me right in the feels. It's a show about a kid who was this superstar world-class chef, like elite chef, and he had a brother who was running like this place in Chicago that was kind of like a sub shop type place, but dealt with like specialty meats and sandwiches and stuff like that. his brother, this is not a spoiler. It happens right at the beginning. Like it happens before the show even starts. So the brother who owns this place in Chicago ends up killing himself. And the brother who's the big superstar chef takes over. And it's one of the most incredible ensemble casts, incredibly acted, incredibly well written. The second season really, really launches the show into the stratosphere. The restaurant and everything that goes on is just a vehicle for you to get to know these people and to feel for them. It reminds me kind of like the way Friday Night Lights, which was one of my all-time favorite shows, where like the football was like a vehicle for you to get to know these characters and learn about their lives and get involved in their emotions. It's incredibly well acted and really well written, very touching at times. Like it's highly recommend. Each episode is about 25 to 30 minutes. There's a couple of longer episodes in season 2, but you can bang it out. It's 2 seasons. I think each season has 8 or 10 episodes. I can't recall, but I highly recommend it. I don't think you'll be disappointed. It's called The Bear.
I saw Portnoy on Twitter did one of those emergency press conferences.
Oh yeah.
And he wrote, "I'm out. It's too slow. I don't get it."
What?
Yeah. He did one. He goes, "I tried. I'm out. I'm out of The Bear."
This is also the fucking bozo who just eats pizza for fucking and is a billionaire. So fuck him.
No, I'm just saying that.
No, I know.
It's like become like the new
yes
series to watch.
Yep.
That's
exactly.
awesome.
But
I looked for it. I don't have Hulu, and it wasn't on demand FX because I do have cable, and it wasn't on demand yet.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Well, check it out if you can get your hands on it. It's well worth it, believe me. So,
all right. Well, Sonny, tell us where we can find you.
grownuprock.com is probably the best place. You can find me on Twitter too. Podcast Rock City every Sunday. Just celebrated our 10th anniversary.
Nice. Congrats. All right.
Yeah.
10 years. Wow.
Yeah, I've been on it for 6.
Nice.
A little bit of change.
Yeah, the show went downhill the last 2 years. For some reason,
fucking Casada. Fucking the worst.
That fucking guy. That kid. Why do you have him?
He's every show's anchor. He just dragged you down.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Straight up. Just terrible. Nothing good about that guy. Not one thing.
Fuck him.
He's got nice hair, but that's okay.
Oh, I don't even know if it's real. I think it's a wig.
It's a wig. It's a mop. Good point. Good point.
He's trying to take attention away from his nose.
Oh, God. Here we go.
Trust me, it's not working.
Tom, what about us?
Yeah, so if you're listening to us for the first time, Shout It Out Loudcast, we are normally an all-Kiss podcast that drop new episodes every Saturday. We do Album Review Crew with Sonny once a month. You can check us out on our website at shoutitoutloudcast.com or email us at shoutitoutloudcast@gmail.com. And we're on all the social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Threads, because we're cool and hip. And I don't know what the fuck Threads is. I'm not on it. But we are.
You can always email us at shoutitoutloudcast@gmail.com, shoutitoutloudcast@gmail.com. Go to the website. Go to him.
Yeah.
And go to our website where you can look at the Album Review Crew, the rankings, all the albums reviewed, how we reviewed them. And then if you always want to look, you can always see what we've recommended in the You Make Me Rock Hard segment, all there for you to peruse and put your comments on. So what we always do is we like to leave with famous last words. Sonny, you got any?
Keep him tied. It makes him well. He's getting better. Can't you tell? No more can they keep us in. Listen, damn it. We will win.
Nice. Nice. Damaged jackals ripping right through you. Sight and smell of this. It gets me going. Know just how to get just what we want. Tear it from your soul in nightly hunt.
Nice.
Yes.
Pounding out aggression, turned into obsession, cannot kill the
battery.
Sonny, Tom, Loudcasters, Kiss Army, Puppet Tarts. I don't know. Thank you.
Thank you. Always a good time. Master.
Guys, great time talking about my favorite album. This is awesome. Patreon, you guys rock. Metallitards.
Bullshit.
Disposable tards. Welcome home, sanitary tards. You guys rock. Zeus, as always, my friend. Thank you.
Peace out, Girl Scout.
Let's put the women and children to bed and go looking for fucking dinner, all right?